Hello, I'm BMillzebub and welcome to my channel. Normally I hate doing response videos, but I saw this one and almost immediately was unable to control myself. I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw this video that had been posted in 2012 by a Bishop Barron. I know this video is quite old in internet time, but I thought many of the points were still relevant. Initially, when I saw it, I thought it would be a bunch of tripe the church came up with to excuse it and make it seem like it wasn't the church's fault, but the fault of the parishioners. But to my surprise, I was a little wrong. Mostly wrong, probably, is a better way to put it. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Let's roll the intro and see where this video takes us. And if you ask me, our days are numbered, falling one by one. It seems to me somewhere we blunder with by faith and trust. So for context, the original video is linked below, but just so everyone's aware, there are going to be some bits that I think are kind of superfluous and don't add to the discussion, so I'll be cropping those out and keeping relevant sections in. So let's see what he's got to say.
And Bishop O'Connell had a very simple question he wanted them to look into. Why are Catholics leaving the church?
You know, I've got a few ideas as to why it may be that Catholics are leaving the church. Being an apostate from Catholicism myself. But I'm going to let Bishop Barron talk for just a moment and see where this goes.
What struck me first was a fair amount of it was predictable. People said things like, gay marriage, divorce and remarriage, contraception, women's ordination, a lot of the sort of hot button issues. And, I'd be willing to bet anybody, even vaguely associated with the church over the past, 50 years, could rehearse the arguments pro and con on those issues. And more to it, let's be honest, they're just things that the church, certainly at the local level, just can't do very much about.
I'll grant that on the local level, there's not much an individual church or priest can do without first having to more or less break away from the Catholic Church at large. But there very much is something that the Catholic Church can do about the hot button issues mentioned, because the church gets it wrong on each and every one. This, to me, just seems to be kind of a weak cop-out. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just one priest. Sure there is. All you need to do is stand up and say, this is wrong, the church got it wrong, and it's incumbent on us to make it right.
I mean, no parish priest or no bishop is going to say suddenly, oh yeah, gay couples come to be married. Yes, we'll ordain women to the priesthood. So those are things that really can't be addressed directly.
Yeah, those things can be. It just has to be done by the church at large. I just explained that to you, dude, in the 8-year-old video.
Here's the first category, what I call bad customer relations. So a lot of people left because they were just treated poorly by church leaders, by church officials, by priests. I'll give you a couple quotes. One woman said she just felt undervalued by the church. Another one, in fact, many people echoed this in the survey, found their pastors arrogant, distant, aloof, and insensitive. A number of people, too, commented that parish personnel often were very unhelpful, meaning, over the phone, parish staffers they would contact who were just unkind or indifferent to them.
I think that in this regard, the Catholic Church is quite far from special. People join a community to feel welcomed and accepted. And if they're not getting that satisfaction from one community, they're gonna go look for it in another one. I personally can't say that feeling unwelcomed is something I've got much experience with. I was quite active in my church's youth group and would regularly attend Mass on Sunday. Where I can sympathize is with the arrogant pastor. The pastor of my former church before I left, I won't say his name for the sake of privacy, but he was an arrogant man. Rather than engage with the youth group, which had brought in quite a few new parishioners prior to his arrival, which pretty much equates to more dollar bills, y'all. But what he would do is sort of dismiss us because we were young. Quite a failure to recognize the future of the church, to be sure.
Here's a second one that I think can be addressed: bad preaching. I'll give you a quote again here. People found sermons very often boring, irrelevant, and poorly prepared. Now, first of all, as someone who preaches a lot, someone involved in seminary training, I can tell you preaching is difficult. It brings together so many different skills. I mean, to preach well, you have to know a lot about public speaking. You have to know a lot about the Bible and how to interpret it. You have to be able to read the culture well. You have to be sensitive to the needs and interests of a very diverse public. So I know preaching is difficult. Nevertheless, we find this complaint now over and over again that bad preaching is driving people away.
Definitely, public speaking sucks. I'm not great at it. Probably never will be. So I probably shouldn't be throwing stones while living in a glass house. But here I go. Let's consider all the things the good bishop mentioned needing to preach well. Public speaking, the Bible and interpreting it, reading the culture and being sensitive to the needs and interests of a diverse public. Seminary school is like 7 or 8 years long. Am I really expected to believe that things like public speaking, especially the Bible and how to interpret it, and dealing with the culture and members of a society aren't covered in that time? I get it. A lot is thrust upon a priest. I do. They have to deal with the needs and wants of parishioners who probably seem to have an endless stream of needs and wants. And I'm not even being flippant. I've spoken with several different priests about the expectations and time constraints they have, so I get it. But something I've noticed is that the better priests who give the most interesting homilies, the most relevant homilies, are the ones who mingle with the congregation after Mass. So if anything, I'd say that for this one, the Catholic Church is failing priests, which in turn causes the priests to fail the parishioners.
Here's a third thing now that came up in the survey. Eminently addressable problem, and one I must confess to you that I never thought of before I read the survey. But a lot of people said, you know, I left the church, I left the parish, and nobody called me, nobody wrote to me, no one contacted me from the parish. And so they said, the heck with it. They don't care about it. They don't even know I'm there.
Yeah, this definitely is one of those things that the Catholic Church can do much better. In my case, it wouldn't have done them any good because I didn't even believe in the God anymore. But for the people who are commonly called lapsed Catholics, this could mean the world. Especially now and even 8 years ago when this video was first posted. It's the digital age. The world is smaller and people are more easily contacted. For those lapsed Catholics, a phone call from someone, anyone in the church, could be the difference between them coming back or staying gone for good.
So, you know, it's interesting experience reading the survey. Again, a lot of things that we probably can't directly solve or address. And of course, the problem is a difficult one. Everyone knows that. It's a complex issue, a lot of reasons why people leave. But I found the survey kind of encouraging in a certain way because it convinced me there are some things, very concrete, very simple, very practical things, that we can do right now that would go actually a long way toward improving the situation.
Sure, there are a lot of small, simple things the church could do to keep people from leaving. Keep a large number of people from leaving, in fact, I'm sure. But without the overarching change necessary that was mentioned early on in the video, the Catholic Church is still going to hemorrhage people from the pews. To me, that's a good thing. The less power the Catholic Church can exercise over people, the better. Like I said at the start, the video I'm responding to is pretty old. 8 years in internet time is about as different as the 1960s and the 1980s. But I did think some of the points were still relevant. Yes, the Catholic Church has a problem with bad PR on the local level, and let's face it, the more global level. Yes, often the homily will be boring or, for whatever reason, won't engage the parishioners. And yes, the Catholic Church can do better follow-up with parishioners who leave. If you don't make people feel welcome, if you don't make them want to buy what you're selling, they'll take their business elsewhere. But as much as fixing these issues will solve a lot of the church's problems, it's just a band-aid. What really needs to be solved are the awful positions the church takes on basic human rights. What do all of you think, though? Am I underestimating the good that the church solving these issues could do? Am I nailing it, or something else? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. If you feel so inclined to help me and the channel out, consider supporting me on Patreon, where $5 tier members get 2-day early access to most videos before I post them publicly. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, linked below, to keep up with all my comings and goings, and join my Discord for a chance to talk to yours truly. Take it easy, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one.